What's the first thing you do when you factor? Before you start factoring, what do you have to look for? Common factors in the terms, okay? So, looking at the 5x squared and the 10x, is there a common factor? Yes, there is. See, they're talking. I bet you can't hear right now. All right, so you guys need to go. You need to listen to the video because you'll hear you guys talking and being obnoxious. Taylor, the whole time. Okay, so what could I take out of both factors at the same time? 5x. Fantastic. Somebody did their homework. Okay, so what, using the distributive property, we multiply. So here we're dividing. So what's 5x squared divided by 5x? X. Okay. What's 10x divided by 5x? 2. Am I completely factored here? Yes. Okay. You can look at that because these are to the first power. Okay. Number trace. This is an easy one. Why is this one an easy one? That's right, because my A is 1. Remember standard form that I taught yesterday? AX squared, well, that I jogged your memories, plus BX plus C. When my coefficient A is 1, these are relatively easy. Go ahead and set it up in your factors, your two binomials. Only one way to get x squared, right? X times x. Only one way to get, well, let's do the signs. They have to multiply to a positive 3. So the signs have to be the same. So you're either going to multiply a negative times a negative or a positive times a positive. But they have to add up to a positive 4x. So what's the sign? Positive, positive. Now, there's only one way. There's only two factors that multiply to get 3. It's a prime number. 1 times 3. And I'm done. Now, you can check yourself by doing the outside, 3x, the inside, 1x. Remember, when we were doing FOIL yesterday, you add those middle terms. So 1x plus 3x equals 4x. And guess what? That matches. This is very helpful, these little arches, upside down arches, U's, whatever, when A is a different number other than 1. ¿Comprendes? Are you confused? Okay, good. All right, what am I doing now? Number 5. All right. A is 1, so I'm going to go right into my x times x. Two numbers that multiply to a positive add up to a positive, so my signs are positive, positive, or plus, plus. Factors of 18. Now I'm going to be adding these, right? I'm going to be adding the inside, adding the outside. So I'm going to be adding the factors of 18. So I have 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Which ones add up to 18? Oh, I'm sorry, to 9. Three and 6. That's it. Yeah, but that's the one we did yesterday had a coefficient here of like 18 or something like that, wasn't it? There was a large, this was 18, had these, and then this was 8, I think. So you had to multiply one of these, but we'll get into it. We'll run into it. Number 7. My a is 1, so I'm going to go ahead and do my x times x. Now, this one multiplies to a positive. So am I going to have a positive times positive or a negative times negative? Look at your b, negative times negative, right? Because they have to add up to a negative number. Factors of 8, and again, we're adding them, even though they're negative. 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Which ones are going to add up to 6? 2 and 4. Yes, ma'am. Okay, is this Joey? Hi, Joey, how are you? Okay. Boy, I feel sorry for Joey. I know. I appreciate that. You should send him a letter or something. Leave him a note. Everybody should leave him a note. We all feel sorry for you, Joey. Yeah, Mr. D. Good luck. All right, number 9. I'm glad I recorded that. Okay, my a is 1, so I have x times x. Now they multiply to a negative number, so what are my signs? It's the only way I can multiply two numbers together to get a negative product. Positive and negative. So one has to be positive, one has to be negative. What's going to happen when I do the inside-outside? I'm going to be subtracting the factors, right? Okay. Factors of 4. 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Now, if I subtract these, which one's going to give me a positive 3? 4 and 1. Okay, where's the 4 going to go? Yeah, it's got to go with the positive. And the 1's going to go with the negative. Got it? Well, it doesn't have to necessarily go first. Because I remember what I'm doing here. I'm multiplying these and multiplying these. Remember, outside, inside. And then I'm adding them together. The reason why I put the 4 with the positive is because I got a positive 3x here. So I want the bigger number I'm subtracting because that's the negative. I want the bigger number to be positive so it comes out positive. Okay, so if you do this, I get 4x, and I'm going to add to it a negative 1x, so I actually end up subtracting. That equals a positive 3x, which is what I want. Okay. Number 10, oh, no, I'm not doing number 10. By the way, number 10 is that special shortcut formula, isn't it? Difference of squares. On the front or on the back of this page, if I have a squared minus b squared, a difference of squares, shortcut formula says a plus b, a minus b. Now, if it helps, make that 16 a perfect square. So in reality, I have x squared minus 4 squared. So what's my a? What's my a? This is squared. What's being squared? X. What's my b? The 4. The 4 is being squared. So all I have to do is plug it into my formula. X plus 4 and x minus 4. In other words, I'm using the bases, x and 4. Now, you could do it the other way too. It's just the term in the middle is gone. And this is actually x squared plus 0x minus 16. You could go ahead and factor it the other way too. Two numbers that multiply to negative 16 and add up to 0 would be 4 and 4. Wouldn't it? You see what I'm saying? Am I confusing you now? A little bit? Yeah, see, I should have just stopped. Well, let's do it. Okay. All right, let's factor that. Okay, so I got an x and an x. The sign is negative, so I got a plus and a minus. So that means I'm going to be subtracting them, right? The factors of 16, I have 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. Which ones am I going to subtract to get 0? 4 and 4. See how I get the same answer? Okay. It's kind of easy to remember this formula. The other formulas, not so easy to remember. Number 11. Now my A is 3. Okay. Now I got a little bit more of a difficult problem. But it's not that bad because there's only one way to get 3, which is 1 and 3. So I have 3x times 1x. My sign, they have to multiply to a positive and add up to a positive, so my signs are positive. Factors of 12. Now here's the tricky part. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. One of these, when I'm adding them, because they're both positive, I'm going to be adding these, but one of them is going to be multiplied by 3 and then add the other one. You know what I mean? There's the outside. So one of my factors, but whatever one I choose, one of my factors is going to be multiplied by 3. Okay. You want to use a 3 and 4? They have to add up to 12. So 3 here. It can't be a 4 because 4 times 3 is 12, and there's no room for this guy. I'm whatever you want to do. Which one? You might have to do it a couple of times. 3 times 2. So you want the 2 over here and the 6 here. Okay, let's try it. 6x here. 3 times. Very good. 6x plus 6x is 12x. That's it. 6 and 2. These can get really tough. How about 13? What should I do here first? I have 4x squared minus 8x plus 4. Should I go ahead and start the whole? I got 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. 1 and 4, 2 and 2. I need to start the whole process, and this is going to be really hard, isn't it? I skipped my little golden rule, didn't I? What's the first thing I do before factoring? What's the first thing I do before factoring? Oh, I got an idea. Huh? Say it. Common factor. Is there a common factor I can take out first? Look at 4x squared, 8x, and 4. Can I take out a common factor? I can take out a 4. What am I left with? Very good. Isn't this a lot easier to factor than 4x squared minus 8x plus 4? My A is 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and put my x's there. They have to multiply to a positive, add up to a negative. So what's my signs? Minus, minus, and how two numbers that multiply together to get one? And have a choice. Now this is perfectly acceptable. You could also write it like this, because we're squaring this. Either one of these answers is acceptable. This is going to be preferred when we get into vertex form. $15. Questions on this? Always look for that common factor first. I do it to this day. I forget about it. But it's not very long before I realize I forgot about it. 15. What do I have here? That's right, a difference of squares. Don't I? How can I write 25 as a square? 5 squared, right? I have x squared minus 4 is 2 squared. So I have a difference of squares. So I can go straight to the a plus b, a minus b. What's my a here? It's the base. 5x, right? Plus, minus, and what's the base on the other one? 2. And I'm done. Really a shortcut formula. Should we try a harder one? Ooh, I should do number 26 for you. What do you think? Do you think you can do it? Why don't you give it a try? Try it right now. See if you can do it. Yes, ma'am. You did finish? Fantastic. Thank you. Huh? During work time, you can start it. Yeah. How you guys doing on this? Are you guys making any progress on this? Recording here.